What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. Today we're gonna work on the Z and the oil issue that I had earlier past couple videos ago. I don't know if you saw that video. If not, if you did not see it, go back and watch it. But basically what was happening when I installed my Mishimoto oil cooler and the sandwich plate, and my oil pressure was spiking to like 140 150 psi. It was throwing the check engine light, and what I ended up figuring out, where the oil pressure sensor goes on a sandwich plate, it didn't like that area, or didn't like that spot, or maybe there was a little bit more restriction when it was flowing from the sandwich plate to my oil cooler, and the pressure was just too high. And I ended up taking all that off and then putting all the OEM stuff back on. So I ended up installing this OEM oil cooler back onto the car and putting everything back to original, and the problem went away. But as soon as I would swap back to the sandwich plate and the oil cooler, it would come back. So that way I was kind of nervous at first because I thought something might have happened to the engine. That's why the oil pressure is so high. But by swapping this back, it just basically proved that that spot wasn't good for the oil pressure sensor. And I do have a good oil pressure sensor. I did bought another one just to make sure, and it's a AEM oil pressure sensor. So I thought maybe took a crap, but it didn't. So today what we're gonna do is I bought an adapter to move my oil pressure sensor to the back side of the original turbo pickup line. So when the motor was stock and the twin turbos were on it, it's the back port that was feeding the turbo. So that's where we're gonna put the oil pressure sensor onto. And to do that, I have to basically move my wire harness kind of up and around the whole block and trying to reach the other side. So today I'm gonna get the car out of the garage right now, kind of pulled in forward at this moment, but we're gonna get this thing and flip it around and then see how much wire harness I have to move. Hopefully not much, because it's all tucked away, and I didn't want to really make a mess because it's all neatly hidden and clamped and all that good stuff. So but I gotta do what I gotta do to fix it, because the check engine light's kind of annoying, blinking every time I would go over the 3000 RPM. That's where it sees like high oil pressure, but it's actually not. So let me move this car around. I'm gonna flip it around, and then I'm actually gonna drain my oil because I'm due for the oil change. And then we're gonna take a look at how much stuff I have to take apart to get the harness and the connector over to the other side of the block. Let's do it. So basically what we got here is oil pressure is currently located just right below this dipstick, and it has to go all the way down here. So we'll see if this wire harness is gonna reach. So what I have to do, my wire harness is actually clamped underneath this intake manifold all the way under. So I put like Adele clamps all the way there, and it comes all the way out here. So all the way out here. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jack this thing up and drain the oil and let that thing drip while I'm trying to figure out how to move this wire harness as careful as possible, because I don't want to make a mess again. So let me get that going and we'll take a look. guys, the oil is draining now, so I'm just gonna wait till it starts dripping so I can put a plug on, so I can actually crawl around the bottom, and then we'll jack up the other side and put jack stands under it, so there's a little bit more room to move around. But there's one thing that I want to share with you guys. If you do run E85 and you guys take your car to the track or whatnot, or you're doing pools, it is very important that you guys, after that track day or after those pools, you do want to come in and drain your oil, because the vapor that mixes with your oil and goes back into your oil pan is very corrosive, and it's very bad for your seals, like your crank seal, front main seal, rear main seal, and maybe even like the gasket maker. Because what I noticed now, so I redid all my seals at the beginning of the swap, and now what I noticed is all those seals, including the gas maker, are starting to seep a little bit of oil. And I've been running basically nothing but E85, and I have not been doing the oil changes like you should after the track day or after those pools. And that's basically just eating those seals away and creating all these leaks. So in the future, once I go and pull this motor, it's not, it's not bad, it's not dripping crazy, it's just a little mist, but you can see the wet spots around the oil pan and where the crank where the front main seal is. You can see that oil is coming out of it. So what I have to do is basically pull that motor again and replace the seals, which sucks. And I kind of didn't really know that at the beginning. Learned that a little bit after I was running the E85 for a while, and I was not changing my oil. So now I kind of created my own, created a problem that has to be fixed. So just an advice for all of you out there: if you do run the E85, make sure you do change that oil regularly, because you'll create a problem, and then there's more work that really doesn't need to be there. Anyway, back. Alright guys, so here's the oil pressure sensor right over here, and that's where the harness was, basically right at the beginning of the left hand side of the engine. And I just went ahead and I just want to show you, sorry for the shaky camera, I had to take all those wires apart. You can see a big mess now. So I had to take the loom off and pull the harness out of there. And here's so I just went and tried to test it out. Here is the oil pressure sensor harness, and I had to go all the way out to here, so basically back section of the left hand side, and pull it out of the wire bundle, sorry, and move it to this side right over here, and now the connector is on this side. So basically right where this bolt is at, that's the original place for the second turbo feed, and we're going to be installing the pressure sensor right over here. I'm going to try to go ahead and bundle this back up as much as I can and as careful as I can, and I don't think I'm going to be able to videotape it, but because I need both of my hands. So let me get this squared away, and then we go ahead and install the oil pressure on the other side. Alright guys, the wire harness is back together. Everything is zip tied and clamped back up to the intake manifold where it was at originally, and I went ahead and moved the wire harness as you already saw, and I already put the pressure sensor in it. So I'm just gonna give you a quick look at it. This is where it's at. So I put this little heat shield wrap on it just because the wire and the sensor is so close to the downpipe, and I didn't want to, I mean, even though this is all wrapped, I just want to give a little extra protection here. And as you see it, here's how it came out. There you go, focus. So this is the back feed portion. Here's the adapter, plug, and the wire harness. So it wasn't that as bad as I thought it was going to be. Actually, it was pretty easy to move the harness, I'll zip tie, 2 hands to zip tie this over, so I'll take care of that here in a second. But for now, let me put a new, replace the oil filter. I got a brand new HKS oil filter right here, and we got some 5W30 oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the old one, put a new one on, and then lower the car, and we're gonna hook up the laptop, let it warm up, and test it out, and make sure everything works as it should. So let me take care of that real quick, and we'll test it. All right, the oil filter is replaced. The fresh oil is in the car now, so I got the laptop hooked up. Let's fire it up and see what the actual oil pressure is now. Since we moved the oil pressure sensor to the other side, and now it's located in the oil galley, it should be the true oil pressure of the motor. So it should be a lot lower than what it actually is on your adapter plate. So right now the motor's cold, and we got 137, 140 psi. Let's let it warm up to operating temperature. Right now we're at 87 right over here, and then we'll take a look. This should come down significantly. Okay, so it just warmed up, the fan just kicked on, so our temperature, coolant temperature is about 186 right there, and our oil pressure went down to 40 psi basically, and it seems still kind of high, 40 psi at idle. But that's where it was before. But I thought it would be lower because the oil pressure is actually sitting in the oil galley. So I thought it would be reading about 20 or so. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you guys having different oil pressures. Let's take this thing for a drive for just, you know, let's take this thing around the block and see, just to make sure this oil pressure doesn't spike to like 150 again, and make sure the check engine light stays off. So let's take a look. Well, right away I can tell it's already fixed, because it stays about, like you saw, 120 or something when I just stomp on the throttle, and then cruise it stays about 100 or 90. Before it would just go right to 150 and throw a check engine light, but right now it's basically doing what it was doing before, staying 100, 110 or so, and that's a win. So I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I don't know if this is this should be a true oil pressure, but it still seems high for a OEM engine, and it's not even a modified pump or anything. So, but the motor seems to be healthy. So my tuner checked it several times because I was kind of freaking out about it, but he said there's nothing to worry about it. And but it is what it is. I'm happy the check engine light is not going off anymore. That was kind of annoying, having it, you know, flash in your face every time you step on the throttle. So now it's all good. So I'm gonna go pull back in the garage and jack it up, make sure there's no leaks on anything, and that should be all good. So relocation well done. Hey guys, so I just jacked the car up when we came back, double checked there's no leaks, so that's plus, everything's all good. And I just want to point this out, if you guys are looking to install your oil pressure sensor on that same spot where I just put it installed, this is the adapter. So you're going to need the M12 by 1.25 male to 1/8 inch NPT. So this is where I got it from. Oh, this is where I got it from, and there's the part number at the bottom. So if you guys looking to get it, it was like, I don't know, $12 or something for this fitting, and it came with the crush washer, so all is good. So no check engine light. I am super happy about that. So job well done. The wire harness is back together. Everything is all good. soon we're going to be going down the drift track and actually going to try out this car, see how she feels at the drift track. So I haven't been there in many years, and it's in Beaver Falls, PA. It's called Pit Race, I believe now, or something like that. So on August 30th, we're going to be going down there. Anyway, and if you guys haven't emailed me about your hats or t-shirts that I had, so this is the hat, and the t-shirts that I had in the previous videos, we still have them. Just comment down below or get a hold of me on Instagram or Facebook, however you want to do it, and I'll set you up with one of those. But thank you for watching today's video. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.